Chapter 1. The Mystery of Rua dos Ypes. In a small town called Vila Serena, famous for its tree-lined streets and bucolic tranquility, a mysterious crime shook the peaceful routine of its residents. On a Monday morning, the body of a man was found at the end of Rua dos Ypes, close to a park. Detective Arthur Ventura, known for his intelligence and insight, was called to lead the investigation. The victim, Carlos Fonseca, was a respected local businessman who owned a chain of bakeries. However, as Arthur began to investigate, he discovered that Carlos also had enmities and a cloudy past. A note with the phrase, "The truth always comes out," was found in his hand, adding to the mystery. Chapter 2. The Suspects. With the help of his partner, investigator Luna Torres, Arthur began to put together the list of suspects. Among them were Marta Fonseca, the victim's wife, who seemed devastated but had a weak alibi. Rogerio Duarte, Carlos' former partner, who had been removed from the business after a legal dispute. Rita Almeida, an employee who had been fired under controversial circumstances. Eduardo Bastos, an investigative journalist who was working on a story about corruption involving the victim. Each had motives and secrets, and the pieces of the puzzle didn't seem to fit together. Chapter 3. Unexpected Revelations. Arthur and Luna discovered that Carlos was involved in a money laundering scheme through his bakeries. Furthermore, the investigation revealed that he was being blackmailed. Encrypted messages found on his computer indicated he was trying to get out of the scheme, but it was too late. An anonymous witness reported seeing a person running away from the crime scene the night before. Based on the description, Arthur was able to identify the suspect as Rogerio, the former partner. However, when interrogated, Rogerio revealed a convincing alibi. He was in an underground casino, which was confirmed by several witnesses. Chapter 4. The Trap. While analyzing Carlos' financial records, Arthur and Luna discovered recent transactions linked to Rita Almeida, the former employee. Rita was called to testify and admitted that she knew about the scheme, but swore that she had nothing to do with the murder. His confession led the team to Eduardo Bastos, the journalist. Eduardo had received confidential information from an informant who worked for Carlos. Fearing for his family's safety, Carlos tried to negotiate with Eduardo to prevent the article from being published. However, Eduardo denied involvement in the crime and presented evidence that incriminated a third suspect, Marta Fonseca, his wife. Chapter 5. The Ending. Arthur realized that the case was more complex than he imagined. He set a trap for the real culprit, summoning all suspects to reconstruct the crime. During the performance, Luna pretended to find crucial evidence that pointed to Marta, who, under pressure, confessed to having hired a murderer to kill her husband. The reason? She discovered that Carlos was embezzling money and was planning to run away with another woman. With the confession, Marta was arrested and the case was closed. However, the investigation also exposed Carlos' financial crimes, which led to the arrest of several people involved in the scheme. Epilogue. A New Beginning. Arthur and Luna were praised for solving the case. The city of Vila Serena returned to its usual peace, but now with a more vigilant population. Arthur, reflective, realized that the truth is not always simple, but that justice prevails when all sides of the story are revealed. The detective smiled as he walked along Rua dos Ypes, now lit by the morning sun, and thought, maybe the next story will have fewer lies and more happy endings. Chapter 6. the echo of the past. 3 months after the case closed, Arthur was surprised by an anonymous letter left on his desk at the police station. The letter contained just one sentence. "You think everything is over, but the truth never sleeps." Next to the phrase, there was a photo of Carlos Fonseca in a meeting with an unknown man. Intrigued, Arthur showed the letter to Luna, who suggested investigating the identity of the man in the photo. Using police resources, they discovered he was a banker named Jonas Alencar, known for facilitating illegal transactions. Upon confronting Jonas, Arthur realized that Carlos' scheme was part of a much larger network. Jonas revealed that Carlos had become involved with a powerful criminal consortium and that his death could have been a file burning. This puts Arthur and Luna in a dangerous game of cat and mouse. Chapter 7: Dangerous Connections. Arthur and Luna began to be followed and received veiled threats to abandon the case. However, the pair were determined to dismantle the organization. They managed to infiltrate an undercover agent into one of Jonas' businesses, discovering that the organization had plans to expand its operations to Villa Serena. With the help of the public ministry, Arthur obtained authorization for a large-scale operation. During a carefully planned ambush, Jonas and other key members of the organization were arrested. Documents found in the group's offices revealed details of its activities and led to the arrest of others involved. Chapter 8: The Final Truth. With the organization dismantled, Arthur and Luna were once again praised for their courage and dedication. The city of Villa Serena, now free from the threat of organized crime, came to be seen as an example of resistance and justice. Arthur, however, couldn't help but think of the letter's phrase, "The truth never sleeps." He knew that new challenges would arise, but he was ready to face them alongside Luna and her team. Rua dos Ypes remained quiet, but now it bore the marks of a history that would never be forgotten. The detective took one last look at the park and smiled, confident that as long as there were people fighting for the truth, happy endings would always be possible.